record button. So yeah, so you've agreed that we can record this for educational purposes to support learning and implementing the process for XR groups. So I wanted to just share my intention to begin with. I wrote it in the document. I don't know if you saw that, just that what I call this is a restorative empathy circle. So the intention is to create a regenerative culture of empathy, to nurture, mutual listening, mutual understanding, mutual care, trust, and support, and kind of develop a constructive relationship and going forward. And that each person can fully express themselves, say whatever it is that they would like to say, and to feel heard, that they've been heard and understood to that. And we use the empathy, mutual empathic listening process in the circle. And now the pre-circle is just, half an hour, whatever time you need for me to listen to you. And I'll just, if you periodically pause, I'll just reflect back my understanding to make sure, I'm hearing you. And so this is just a little bit of a pre-circle to make sure everyone feels like they've been heard, to understood to some degree, before they come into the full circle. So okay. The time is yours. I'm all ears. I'm listening. I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen. We listen. Okay. So just about XR, Santa Cruz, there's been some conflict, and want to just hear kind of what's up alive for you around that.
Okay. Well, I think XR Santa Cruz is amazing, and I'm very happy to be part of it. I just kind of don't know where to start with things. I'm not feeling a lot of heat or anything. I think in terms of structurally, the system that we've got set up at the moment could be improved, and I think that that's what we're in the process of doing. And I think that the reason that this empathy circle maybe is happening isn't so much to do with the structures and the needing to change the structures as the way that process is being handled, and personality differences and difficulties between people. So I think that, in some ways, I think the problem is more to do with dynamics between people and their personalities than the actual structure of XR Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me reflect that back. So I hear that when you say you don't have a lot of heat, I imagine that you mean just a lot of feeling or emotion, upset about it, that you're seeing it more as a sort of a structural issue, and you're doing some changes of the structure, and that the empathy circle is more to deal sort of with the personality issues and the personal relationships for people, and sort of that part needs to be sort of addressed.
I think so. I think we're in the process of actually changing the decision-making structure to make it a little more transparent for people. I think the way we've had it's been fantastic. That I don't think there's anything wrong with how we've been doing it, but now we've kind of got to a size where having a kind of a stewardship core of people, not core is the wrong word, but a stewardship group, which I think really helped get the organization off the ground and gave it some structure and brought a group of people who had an overview. I think that they've done a fantastic job, and I've been part of that group in more recent months. So I just don't have the slightest criticism about the way things have been run up until now. But now that it's got bigger, we need to do something different. And the proposal to change, I think, is a really good one. And everybody's agreed to kind of take that proposal to core and make that change. So I don't think that that's really what's kind of going on here, really. Sort of is, but the reason it's become difficult for some people, I think, is more to do with personalities than to do with the actual structures themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you've had initial structure, as you're a small group and it's worked really well, you're really satisfied with it. But now as more people are coming into the organization, it's time to make some structural changes to be able to accommodate that. And you feel good about that change, but it's the problems seem to be more interpersonal, personality type issues that need to be addressed.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a dilemma for all organizations is when is somebody's behavior not acceptable behavior to the organization, and when is it behavior that can be worked with, that someone's just having some difficulty, you can talk it through, work it out. It might be a bit hard, but it's all workable. Where's the line between that situation and a situation where someone's speaking or writing in a way that really is not civil and is disrespectful and is causing kind of upheaval that then maybe even threatens the structure of the threatens the well-being of the organization itself? And I think I'm feeling like I don't know where we are with that. I'm not sure if having this empathy circle will actually help bring about change and help sort of cool down some of the things between particular individuals, or whether there is a particular person whose personality is just not suited to being in this sort of setup. And I don't know. I wasn't actually that keen on being involved in this because I had a bit of a feeling of saying a line has been crossed in terms of civil behavior and respectful behavior, and that line's been crossed. And so we should say this is not a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm. So
But
there's a line in organizations that, like, at what point do you not have someone take part in the organization that they're being not civil, not disrespectful, and it's where do you sort of draw that line?
yeah,
And that's something that that's sort of you're not quite sure where that line is, but that seems to be sort of one of the issues. Perhaps this person, maybe I think you might be speaking of Sky. Maybe that's not she's kind of crossed that line. You're
yeah,
feeling, but there's kind of
yeah,
an issue around that.
yeah, a feeling that line's being crossed. And I think for me, what the concern is if someone crosses lines like that repeatedly, it really harms the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And like the planet's in such need of people doing the right thing, and we're trying to build healthy alternative communities for as things start to unravel. And so I feel a little protective of our organization, that I don't want someone who's going to just create upset after upset after upset that's not actually resolving in anything. And in the past, I've been someone who's really been always trying to, like, let's see both sides, let's try and solve this. But I'm getting a little more in my years of going, actually, sometimes you just have to say, this is not okay. Like, I think you should go do something else. So I'm just right there. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously I'm willing to do this process. I'm willing to do this process in case
Mm-hmm.
things can be worked out, because it's obviously better if you can work things out.
Yeah. So ideally, you'd like to be able to work things out, work things through, talk about them, and you find that sort of that line, where that line is, that you're trying to determine that, and but the main thing was to protect the organization. So if someone comes in as disruptive and sort of breaks up the organization, maybe some concerns about that, and
Yeah,
to protect the organization, keep it from falling apart or being damaged.
yeah, that's right. But not just for the organization's sake, but because we're trying to, like, things are going badly with climate change. So it's there's a lot at stake here that we're
Yeah.
trying to work with. And if it ends up falling apart, it does. I mean, life is like that. It might. But so that's why, in a way, when I said at the beginning, there's not a lot of heat, and it's not a personal heat that I'm feeling. But I would be really sad if we just kept on struggling trying to solve something that's not actually solvable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so some concern, you just keep trying to resolve, nothing's getting done. It might be better just to kind of draw the line. And you're trying to protect the organization, but it sounds like the deeper mission behind it too
Yeah.
is important.
And also, I think I feel concerned for individuals all of us are volunteers, and some have got children and some have got full-time jobs, and that people have put so much in this last year, and we've been really just an amazing the actions that we've done and the work that we've done and the community that we've built, I feel it's been really wonderful. And I don't want those people to end up feeling exhausted and unrecognized and unappreciated and feel like, oh, there's too much dysfunction. I'm just going to go join some other organization. If that happens, it happens. This is life. But I prefer it not to happen.
Yeah, so you're concerned about if you're getting into sort of all this drama, personality sort of issues, the people who've been in the foundational group, that they're going to start getting discouraged and kind of leave the organization. And you wouldn't want that to happen. It can happen. And if it's going to happen, you're leaving space for that. But
yeah,
that's kind of the protective part, wanting to protect that core group. Yeah.
And another thing on that is those core people that have put so much work in for the last year. I've never seen a single person that I think is in sort of trying to hold on to power or is enjoying the power influence. They're simply influential because they're doing a lot. They're hardworking, they're good communicators, they're doing a lot, and therefore they're helping make things happen, and people turn to them for like suggestions or want their buy-in. But I haven't seen anybody up until now, until this kind of little rupture has happened, I haven't seen anybody that's actually got sort of an ego investment in their position. And I think it's worked so well because I don't think there has been anybody who's had that ego investment. They're really doing it for the Earth's sake. That's why they're doing what they're doing. And it feels that this upset has happened with Sky, that there's not been trust in whatever you want to call them. We can call them old timers, even though we've only been less than a year old. It feels like there hasn't been trust. There's been an assumption of wanting to hold on to power or wanting to, centralize power. And I think that that's just really unfortunate and it's not accurate.
So there's sort of a mistrust that there's sort of this power, people wanting to just hold on to their power, and it's about power, and has a lack of trust. But that's not what you're seeing. You're not, that the people who do sort of have power is because they're putting a lot of time into it, and it's not sort of egoistic, I want power, this is kind of what I'm about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think that's basically it.
Okay, so that's the core of it. There was one issue that came up that seemed to have energy for people, was that you had said that Hearns, that he should not be so unkind. Is that was like a comment that seemed to have some resonance? Is there any, or something? I don't know if I got it.
Yeah,
right.
I remember the conversation. Yeah, I think he and I have already worked that one out.
Okay, I feel that's been resolved.
We're all good.
Okay, feel good. So, okay, well, good. Well, that's it. It's here. I'm here just to listen. It sounds like you feel complete, and were you willing to go forward with the empathy circle then, if that comes up? Okay, good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm kind of glad I've decided to be part of it.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad you are too. I'm glad you're taking part in it as well. So, okay, then I'll be listening to another one or two people, I think, and then we're going to be ready for trying to schedule that. It'll either be like some smaller circles if it's hard to get everybody together, and then as when we do the empathy circle, everyone sort of has an equal voice, and so I'll be sort of part of it, and I'll be advocating for more empathy in XR itself, just that there's more use of empathy circles and so forth. So
I thought we'd actually sort of scheduled something for 1 o'clock on Tuesday, didn't we? Is that not something that's scheduled for an empathy circle? Because that's already a time when at least 5 of us we know we've got that set aside.
Okay, what was that again? What time?
I'll just double check that I'm not saying the wrong times. Yeah, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Already 5 of the people in the empathy circle already had that time scheduled for a meeting. So someone suggested that that just be turned over to the empathy circle, which I
Okay,
thought.
okay, yeah, because
sort of
something had been canceled, a different group had been canceled, or another
Well, we
meeting.
would just cancel our stewardship meeting and do
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was talking with Tony about that, so I'll follow up with
All
that.
right.
So yeah, that's great. Okay, then I'll stop